And as the green flag waves, this huge field of 46 cars for the GT4 European Series qualifying 1 pour out of the pit lane, and Brands Hatch is completely taken over by mouth-watering GT cars. The GT4 European Series having an absolute boom season with so many different brands, teams, cars, drivers, you name it. And this is going to be a very busy 20 minutes. How on earth you find clear track space in this, who knows? David Addison trackside, and the cars out to determine the grid for race 1. We've had 2 free practice sessions this morning, which were very lively, inevitably, and now, as the field works its way down the pit road, the serious business of qualifying is underway. They've already had, of course, 1 event, 2 races at Zolder. That was in April, where the wins went the way of, for the first race, the Pilz-Dretzer Reiter Run KTM, and in the second race, the Ginetta of British GT4 champions of last year, Stuart Middleton and Will Tregertha. They were the fastest, in fact, as well, in the free practice session at the start of the day, free practice 1. And Tregertha and Middleton head the Silver Cup standings ahead of Milan Doncha and Nikolai Moller-Madsen, with Pierre-Alexandre Jean and co-driver Stefan Tribodini the third of the Silvers. In Pro-Am, it's the Patrick Zamparini-Csaba Moore combination from Philippe Bethke and Marc Bosseng, and then Max or Massimiliano Tresoldi and Paolo Meloni. The AMs headed by a soloist, Nicky Luttweiler, who drives on his own. So, cars everywhere. There are lots of names to conjure with in this as well. Some familiar, some less so. Number 9, you were just looking at a moment ago, the Camaro in the hands of Luc Brandt. So BMW, Mercedes, Audi, Aston Martin, Chevrolet, McLaren, Porsche, KTM, Ginetta. Anything else I've missed? I think they're the 9 brands represented. As across the timing line then goes 55 Ginetta, run by HHC Motorsport, Stuart Middleton at the wheel of the car. And he is to be found not only, of course, doing well in this, but also as the star driver in British GT. So coming out of the Ginetta Junior Championship. So we'll get lap times up at the end of this lap. Next problem for the drivers not only is the traffic, but the setting sun, because now that we get to, where are we, 5:45 local time, the drivers having to cope with that as well. So it's only 20 minutes, they don't get that many laps in, and already looking rapid in sectors is Gottfried Pilz, winner of the opening race at Zolder, but Stuart Middleton equally on a mission. So times we'll get at the end of this lap. I can't give you a sector for Middleton as he goes through the lap, but the graphics suggest that he's done the absolute best in sector 1. But of course, as every car crosses the line, so the order is going to be jumbled. And he's doing the targets at the moment. So 2 absolute bests offered up in the sectors. And we'll see what the lap time is going to be come the end. He was quickest in the first session with a 33.2. Times in the second free practice session fractionally quicker than that. Stuart Middleton then goes over the timing line and does a 1:32.820 as the target time. There, 88 being driven in this session by Christian Danner, who has not raced here, we don't think, since 1986 at the British Grand Prix, when you could argue he didn't really get into the race because he was involved in the first corner accident that eliminated, amongst others, Jacques Lafitte, and meant that we had a restart and gave Nigel Mansell a chance to take over a spare car. But Christian Danner didn't get very far in that, in the first corner accident, and makes a welcome return with YouTube vlogger Felix von der Laden. But Christian Danner, Christmas dinner, the former Arrows Grand Prix driver and Alfa Romeo ITC racer and the very first Formula 3000 champion back in 1985, comes over the line and has just had his lap time deleted for track limits at turn 3. We didn't have track limit penalties when Christian Danner last raced at Brands Hatch, but we do now. So Christian Danner loses a lap time. Oh, Dakota, our reporter, is going to have a jolly conversation with him at the end of this, I can tell. And Christian Danner then will have to do the hard work all over again. Second fastest, though, now is 87 Paul Rees, the British driver out of Porsche Racing into GT4 this year. Third is the Dutch former single-seater gun, Simon Knaps, BMW. And then fourth is 222, the TFT Racing Porsche Cayman of Nicky Luttweiler. And a big off there, coming out of Hawthorne. Who's that that's got it all wrong? The car actually bounces off the barriers and carries on. And so, as you look at Jörg Wiebahn, I think it was the Phoenix Audi of Helmut Rödig that was off the track. Try and check as you ride on board now with Wiebahn down towards Sterling's. Jörg Wiebahn, another very, very experienced driver, and coming into the European GT4 series after winning the championship in 2016, coming back this year, but it's so much more competitive now, it really is. I mean, the size of the entry is unbelievable. So Stuart Middleton is the fastest. Up to second now is Finlay Hutchison. And then third fastest is Nicky Luttweiler. Time's changing all the time then. Fourth quickest is Milan Dodger. Somebody's had a wild old trip round through the paddock there. You can see the dust still settling as the gravel is eased. Here is Jörg Wiebahn, and behind him, yes, it was number 4, it was the Helmut Rödig car. That should be one to watch in the second session, because Christopher Zerkling, very, very quick Porsche racer, will take the car over. In fact, speed car racing for a time as well. 22, Reinhard Koffler at the wheel, and Reinhard, former BMW racer, coming towards the end of the lap. Got number 2 Mercedes as well, which is Markus Paverud, car that he shares with Ivan Paras. Paverud had his first ever 24-hour race as a 16-year-old, races in Norwegian GT and touring car races. Stuart Middleton is still the fastest, and he's hustling on again to go yet quicker. So he's 4 tenths up already. This car run by the Harrogate team, HHC Motorsport. Harrogate Horseless Carriages is what HHC stands for, the original TVR dealership going back many years. But Charlie Kemp and Jody Hemmings got together to run a team and do a very, very good job indeed. Ginetta champions, GT champions, and Stuart Middleton goes quicker still. So he's into the 1:22.8 now as the best lap, and all the traffic that you've got to pick a way through. Full Grand Prix circuit in use at Brands Hatch this weekend. Real driver's circuit. Up to second has just got Milan Dodger, as you look at number 9 of Luke Brahms. And there's all sorts of drama going on Cooper Straight, which has included the pole position car, which has slowed right down and caused people to scatter all over the road in avoidance. Now, Luke Brahms in the Chevrolet into Westfield, proper noise from this car. Stay with him. Here it comes. Long may noisy racing cars continue as you see the McLaren up the road ahead. Luke Brahms, whose wife Lisette is in the entry as well. She shares with Sven Van Lara. Luke Brahms with Duncan Houseman, who ought to be down for pole position in his qualifying session. But Luke Brahms then keeps the inside line. Just listen to that noise all day, can't you? It's fabulous. One of the beauties of GT racing, the different shapes and sizes and sounds of the cars. So Luke Brahms goes over the line, and he's only 39th, but it sounds good. So the order continues to shuffle, and we've now got up to pole position 22 Reinhard Koffler. So number 22, the car shared with Laura Kreimer. Kreimer goes up to the top by 1/10 of a second. Stuart Middleton is second, Milan Dodger is third. 4th fastest now for the Racing 1 team is Markus Lundstrass. 5th is this car of Gottfried Pilz. And then 6th fastest is 77 of Patrick Zamparini. He also has been seen in the Lamborghini Super Trofeo this year. And we're almost at the halfway point. The session ticks on down quite rapidly here. Gottfried Pilz personal best, and then a bit down in the second sector, but it's so hard to really string together a clear lap. No, correct that. It's impossible to string together a clear lap because there's so much traffic out there. There's the Felbermeyer-backed right-to-run KTM crossbow of Gottfried Pilz and Maciej Dretzer. For many, many years, the KTMs were really the backbone of GT4 when entries were small, and it's good that they're still in the championship. They're quirky-looking cars, but they comply. You could argue they're no more quirky than Ginettas, because again, it's a low-volume manufacturer. KTM, you don't see many on the road, you don't see that many Ginettas on the road, but they're competitive as race cars, and they've got the two together, the G55 ahead of the KTM crossbow. Other more mainstream brands together there, Audi and BMW, including Markus Lundstrass, number 16, hustling on in the Audi. This car run by the Racing 1 team, shared with Hamza Ovega. And up towards the line then comes Lundstrass, he's fourth quickest. The time he's got to try and improve on is his own 36.4. Can he do so? He breaks the beam and he does a 32.9 but stays fourth fastest. Marcus Lundstrass in the GT4 version of the Audi R8, the R8 LMS GT4 to give it its homologated name. And 9 3/4 minutes of the session still to run. How's Christian Danner getting on? Grand Prix star of this parish. He is 32nd. And the lap time that he's done is a 1:36.398. So there is more to come, I suspect, from Christian Danner. Brands Hatch is a little different when he was last racing upon it. It has changed a little. Formula One time, it was in those days a 1:13.261 to get him onto 23rd on the Grand Prix grid, so he's some way adrift by what, 25 seconds or so. Improves, 1:35.4, make that 22 seconds. So there, 77 Patrick Zamparini, who is 8th fastest. Improving in the first sector. And then Marini over the line, we've got one of the delectable Caymans, Porsche Caymans up the road ahead. We've got people now being deleting lap times for track limits. Luke Brahms has lost a lap time for exceeding track limits. There is Stuart Middleton, who's on the money again. He's down a second in the times. But Stuart Middleton then has done an absolute best in the first sector. He runs in the Silver Cup. The young pro drivers along with Will Tregertha, and up the curb they go, or it goes. Stuart Middleton hustles on. So runner-up to Will Tregertha in Ginetta Juniors a couple of seasons ago. There's a yellow flag out somewhere, you can see on the graphic. It is in the first sector. Looking around to try and see where the car off may be. Can't spot it instantly. Middleton over the line. And the lap time that he does puts him fastest. It's a 1:31.682. So Stuart Middleton goes top. Still hunting around for this yellow flag. It's all gone green again anyway now. And we've got another car having a lap time deleted for track limits, and it is 38 Luis Floss, the Brazilian. Good to have Aston Martin on the grid as well for this year's GT4 European Series. Up towards the timing line though here, looking rapid, is Jakob Schober, the Austrian, who is 5th and did a personal best in the first sector and stays 5th. Jakob Schober, the Abarth Austrian champion of 2013, last year's BMW 325i series champion. You can see in the background the witness marks as to what's been going on at paddock over the course of the day. But there is Jakob Schober out of Druids, runs a little bit wide, no real problems in all of that. And car number 60 was the spinner up at Druids, and that's the Academy Motorsport car of Fiona James, Ginetta series racer and race overall producer these days. Right, 111 BMW looking a bit more gung-ho this time. Razvan Umberescu in the car that he shares with the experienced Gabriele Piana. Umberescu at the wheel of it at the moment, the Romanian driver. And is that Stuart Middleton that's slowed right down, or is that the recovering Fiona James? Anyway, car slowed by the side of the road. It looked like one of the HAC Ginettas in fairness. 8 presses on as well. Now, this car is Mark van der Aert, and 22nd he is. Umberescu goes over the timing line, 21st. Didn't improve on that. What about Mark van der Aert? He does go up to, does he? No, stays 22nd, apologies. Every car that crosses the line seems to shuffle the order. Umberescu's had a lap time deleted for track limits at Graham Hill Bend. Reinhard Koffler's KTM. Crossbow is on target here for a good time, even if it went quicker than it has hitherto in the first sector. But he bails from the lap, slows right down, presumably to get clear track space. So Koffler abandons the lap and now starts to accelerate. Five more minutes to go, and Koffler up to Druids. Now, has he done this right? I think he might have done. He's got all the clear track space around him, So he aborted the last lap, now he's on his own. Should be able to improve at the end of it. 5 minutes to go. Traffic, dust on the road now, people going off, setting sun, all these dramas to cope with, but he's doing a good job as he goes up now through Druids. Up through Surtees, forgive me. And amazingly, despite the fact you've got so much traffic out there, and the race director is going to hate me for saying it, they're all being pretty well behaved. Across earlier free practice sessions, we had occasional false yellows because people were off the road, but actually on qualifying, they're all behaving themselves. So where's the next improver? 112 has just got himself up to 6th fastest, which is Miguel Cristoval, the Portuguese driver, who was in the gravel briefly in the earlier session. Some cars that aren't going back out again are staying in the pit lane, getting the driver change done in anticipation of Q2. So you don't want to be late out, you want to maximise the track time in that second session if required. Reinhard Koffler down towards Clark Kerr, but it's not going to be any quicker actually. He's down in both of the sectors, so maybe the next lap for the Hans Reiter run car is the one to look for. Let's see. Up to the timing line, 46 cars that we have in GT4 this weekend, and Reinhard Koffler's lap was a 33.2, so about 9/10 down on what he was doing earlier. Now that's a very attractive looking car, I think you would agree. Number 42 Porsche, one of the Cayman GT4s, and this is the allied racing car of Nicolas Scholl and Joachim Bulting. It is Scholl at the wheel of it, who is new to car racing this season, and former karter, has a good pedigree in karts, but learning new tracks, learning about two-driver races, learning about new circuits, and with its almost old-fashioned traditional Porsche engine, not like these new fangled four-cylinder turbo things, the car accelerates out of Surtees. Co-driver Joachim Bulting, the tax lawyer, is a true am, so probably Scholl who's going to have a honour in that car. But it's good to have Porsche represented within GT4. Huge support, of course. There's also 2 standalone Porsche races going on at Brands Hatch today. Oh, and the traffic badly getting in the way of Nicolas Scholl there. And when it's a Chevrolet Camaro, it takes up a lot of real estate. So Scholl quickly had to switch sides, avoiding which of the Camaros was it? The V8 racing team. Anyway, whichever, it's compromised the run. We've got another that time being deleted for track limit abuse. It was Gasaya Rudest, the Polish lady driver. 42 through Clark Curve is the hard-charging Nicolas Scholl. Now, where will this lap put him? Let's see as he comes up across the line. He does a 35.4 and is 23rd on that lap. So a little bit slower, inevitably, because of the traffic getting in the way. 2 more minutes to go. So you've got time for 2 more laps. In fact, looking at track locations against the clock. Mark van der Aar has gone faster, up to 22nd. Gasaya Rudest also improving. And Helmut Rödig, after a spin, 26th. There is the McLaren, number 56, this car in the hands of David Pattison from Tolman Motorsport. He's got Joe Osborne as the co-driver, who will be quicker, I'm sure, in Q2. Not that David Pattison is slow, just that Joe Osborne is the gun for hire in that outfit. So the McLaren 570S GT4 down Cooper Straight. David Pattison, that we saw a few years ago in the championship with Janetta, now McLaren based. He raced, I think I'm right in saying, in China GT with McLaren, having been based out there. So, out of Hawthorns, 43 is JM or Jean-Marc Littmann, losing a lap time for track limit abuse. Never ends, does it, in this? So many cars, people running wide, and at Brands Hatch, where they have these pressure pads put in to monitor track limits, you can't get away with it. I mentioned JM Littmann a moment ago, replacing the team's regular driver, and former Caterham driver coming in after a test, but not a regular in the championship, but has already been in the Creventic 24-hour series for the last couple of seasons. And Littmann is currently to be found 35th. Henrik Still, the co-driver, as you look now at 13 of Philip Baker and Mark Laseng. And Philip Baker, we were told he was going to do the Q1. Yes, he is, and he's hustling on. He only started in 2016 in the Dubai 24 Hours and was third in class, and then drove last year in the Porsche Supersports Cup in the long distance races with Mark Laseng, the former FIA GT1 world champion. And after all the energy at Sterling's, Baker heads for the pit lane. And with the flag out, at least that means he can get the driver in quicker. So Stuart Middleton, then the Brit, Zolder winner, is on pole position by 0.692 of a second from Reinhard Koffler, and then Milan Doncia, third fastest, fourth quickest in that session, Markus Lundstrass, fifth fastest, number 47 of Jakob Schober, Mercedes, and sixth, 112 BMW of Miguel Cristobal. What can David Pattison do here as he comes up to take the flag? 32nd he is. And Q2 starting in 4 minutes, so there's absolutely no messing about here. There's a curfew of 6:30 as well, and we're at 1 minute past, so they need to get everybody cycled through the 20 minutes and then get finished before the curfew. So there is minimum faffage going on. Once you take the flag, incidentally, here, you don't have to do the whole lap. The cars are brought in as the back door to the pit lane. So you turn right rather than left at Surtees, loop round into the pit lane, and save yourself another couple of minutes that way. So Christian Danner ends up, in the 1:30s. He was a 1 minute 13 when he was here in 1986. It's a bit slower, but let's hear his thoughts. 33rd fastest, he's with Dakota.
Christian, how exciting it is to have you here. Now, to my knowledge, your last time, here was 1986 in a BMW F1 car with Barclays Arrow Racing Team.
Well, yeah, to be precise, it was an Arrows BMW, and it was in fact here 1986 Grand Prix. I didn't really get very far because we had a big pile-up at the start. But anyway, I quite like the track, yeah.
And has it changed at all?
No, it hasn't at all. I mean, there's a little, don't ask me what's different. There's a little bit different at the back there. Not much though. The rest here, the feeling's the same. Turn 1, 2, 3, that to me is just as if it was yesterday. The only difference, the car was faster in 86.
And what is it like being with GT4 McLaren?
It's good. You know, back in 1986, I was praying to be, in a McLaren Formula 1 car once in my life. It didn't work out. So, I make up for it being here in a McLaren, so it's fine. I'm happy with the car. It's great. It's, we have a good balance for the race. I'm looking forward to racing tomorrow, so it's good.
Perfect. Thank you. Good luck.
Yeah, so Christian Danner, welcome back to Brands Hatch. He's had occasional outings in the Sirocco World Cup as a guest driver in recent years, but Stuart Middleton then is the fastest in Q1, ahead of Reinhard Koffler and Milan Doncia. Markus Lundstrass is next, ahead of Jakob Schober. Sixth, Miguel Cristobal, ahead of Gassara Dest, and then Gottfried Pilz, only eighth, winner at Zolder. Ninth, Simon Knapp, ahead of Dennis Strandberg, the Swedish driver, who's been very successful in Volkswagen Racing Cup and has been out occasionally in the BTCC. Paul Rees, the Brit, 19th, behind Beitske Visser, the German girl. Jörg Wiebahn, 22nd. Mark van der Aar, 23rd. What are others? Oh yes, Finley Hutchinson, one to watch. He's only 16th though. Ekel Ravinda, 14th ahead of him. Going further down the order, and after his spin, the car of Helmut Rudig, 26th. Philip Baker, 28th. Volkner Town, the Dutch driver, 30th. Ahead of 31st. The car in the hands of Ranga Schulte. Fiona James, 37th, and Stephen Patrick, 39th, ahead of Mike Newbold. And one car not getting a time in number 39, which did not venture out. We've got a minute to the start of Q2. Quick look at the highlights of Q1 then. Everybody goes pouring out. Took a long, long time, of course, for the pit lane to empty with so many cars. Not the work of the moment, this. And it was Stuart Middleton who was on the money straight away, getting himself up to the top of the times. Then you had 88 McLaren also hustling on, that car being driven by Christian Danner. Big, big spin though for the car of Helmut Rudig, getting it all wrong at Hawthorns. Getting going, thankfully, but Stuart Middleton managed to hang on to the top time, and the Ginetta looking strong all through the session. He was briefly displaced, others clattering over the curb, including the Aston Martin, rattling its way out of Sterling's, and others understeering wide, coming out of Graham Hill Bend. The Porsche Cayman there, number 15, in the hands of Rudolf Schulte, being one of them. Stuart Middleton, though, up for pole position. accelerating his way towards the line. A job well done for HHC Motorsport. Right, now, can Will Tregertha, his co-driver, do the same thing? Let's find out. We get ready. The green flag shown. And so now everybody at the end of the pit lane sets off, ready for this second part of qualifying to determine the race to grid. So out they go. And let's find out whether or not this is going to be a similar order. It should not be in many cases, because where you've got a pro and an am, there's a discernible time difference and pace difference between the pair. But again, everyone eager for track space. Have a look down the pit lane, you see how busy it is, which is inevitable with 46 cars. Now, the track licence permits that, but of course, what that can't necessarily take into account is pit stops. And so, for the purposes of the race, there is not one, but 3 pit windows. So, there's a different window depending on whether you're Pro-Am or Silver or Am. So it's the most well-ventilated of GT races with 3 pit stop windows. But otherwise, if you had everybody coming in within the same period, it would potentially be quite dangerous. So 3 separate pit windows. There is an overlap across them, but to try and reduce the traffic in the pit lane, 3 pit windows are being brought in for the purposes of the race. The race is when we get there tomorrow, and they will be taxing everybody, I think, to try and make sure there's clear pit space. Never mind track space now for qualifying, but for the purposes of the race itself and the pit stops. BMWs are being dispatched there out of the 3Y technology team, also running in the Rockhand sprint race this weekend. Weaving around going on to generate some temperature into the rubber. Get the pressures up, and then we'll see at the end of the next lap what we can do in terms of lap times. There through goes number 6, which is now Jean-Louis Jasper. And this is on board with the German driver who was at Monza a couple of weeks ago in Lamborghini Super Trofeo. And look, as he starts his flying lap, there are others still coming out of the pit lane onto their out lap. So this is where traffic management becomes so important. Jean-Louis Jasper heading now up towards Druids. It is Jörg Wiebahn that did the first session. So Jasper comes out of Druids. And we're getting improvements in sectors, of course, as everybody now starts to get into a rhythm. Jasper up the curb, coming out of Graham Hill Bend. Now down to the left-hander at Surtees. It's a long left-hander. There's an apex. Floor the throttle now, run it up wide, use all of the road. And now the run along the straight towards Pilgrim's Drop. The road plunges down, and there's the climb through Hawthorne. Very fast part of the circuit, this. Down a gear, down another, turn right. Sprint along Derek Minter straight up towards Westfield. It's pretty bumpy here, certainly in the GT3 cars. Slow Ginetta ahead, dive to the inside, get the clipping point for the corner, ride the curb. Job done. Jean-Louis Jasper accelerates out of the right-hander. Through Westfield, the road drops away, climb up through Dingledale, this is Sheen curve. Launch yourself over the curb. Hard on the brakes, left at Stirling's, and then be careful of the curb on the outside line. Right up it. Others have been spat off the road, having clobbered that early on in the day, but Jean-Louis Jasper gets away with it and comes now down towards Clark Curve. And he's catching the Audi ahead as well, so it's a quick lap this by Jasper. The target time has just been done by Will Tregertha, a 1 minute 32.769 ahead of Mark Basseng. And then third fastest, number 50 of Will Burns, another of the HHC Ginettas. Jean-Louis Jasper here goes 4th. And he's really on it, isn't he? He hustles up now towards Druids, through the right-hander now, through that tight corner. Porsche racer a couple of years ago in the club level German Porsche Supersports Cup, the equivalent of what the Porsche Club of Great Britain is running here really this weekend. So 5 minutes in the book. Will Burns back into Ginettas. He was a Ginetta Super Cup star a few years back, or 2 years back, then had a time in the British Touring Car Championship last year, but sadly a rather big accident at Silverstone did for his season. It was in the penultimate meeting, but he was knocked about quite a bit and couldn't do grand, so had to think about what he wanted to do. Knew he went well in Ginettas. He tipped the box, he'd raced in the BTCC, and now going very strongly in these cars. predominantly in the British Championship. That's the main focus, but going well in the European Championship on this weekend's outing. Sharing with Mark Newbold, who's the less experienced, so Will Burns a bit of a hero in that car. It is now Max Kermont getting himself up to second. Last year's GT4 champion and a driver that's been in Rockpan Endurance, both for Royal and also the WRT team going back a couple of seasons, Max Kubal. And then third, Gabriele Piana, the Italian who lives near the Nordschleife now, specialises in racing there, but he's in demand elsewhere. And somebody else in a big hurry, number 36 now, Pierre-Alexandre Jean, has done the absolute best in the first sector. So there's a lot happening. Pierre-Alexandre Jean out of French Formula 4, 7th quickest. You're looking then at the Ginetta hustling itself along Cooper Straight of Will Tregertha, the Ginetta Junior champion, British GT4 champion, and going very strongly. The Ginetta, an ideal car for GT4 racing. There's another example of it, as you see 36, Pierre-Alexandre Jean up towards the line. It's interesting as well, isn't it, when you see the European drivers from mainland Europe in Ginetta, you kind of think it's only going to be the British teams, but lots of other squads have identified the cost of the car, the power of the car, the lightness of the car, the simplicity of the car, and therefore one to have to win races. And 36 up through Druids, Pierre-Alexandre Jean now at the wheel of the car, run as it is by the CMR team. Stéphane Tribolini drove it in the first session, Jean in this. 38 times, made that 39 times being recorded. One that hasn't yet done a time, but surely will soon, is Ricardo van der Ende, number 10 BMW. And that should put him up near the top. Will Tregertha quicker still. 131.664 stretches the margin of half a second now over Will Burns. It's an HHC12. Joe Osborne goes third for the Tolman McLaren team. And then fourth is Christopher Zirkling. The order shuffling and shuffling all the time. There's 112, which is Pavel Lefterov, who got a behavioural warning point earlier on in the day for an infringement, but Lefterov is a race winner in the past in this championship in KTMs, going back to Spa a couple of years, 3 years ago. And the BMW, this being the M4, get used to seeing the big M6 in GT3, the M4 homologated for GT4 purposes. And Lefterov now is 5th fastest, so that last lap getting him up the order. 12.5 minutes on the clock still. There's been a big spin coming out of Grand Hill Bend, and in the middle of all the smog is a McLaren by the look of it. 110 through. So that is Dennis Marshall, who was quick a couple of years ago in the Sirocco R Cup, and he's currently 12th fastest, Dennis Marshall. Somebody else that's regular in VLN events, so does a lot of mileage over a season. Car running in the Silver Cup, as you see from the denomination on the windscreen and on the rear balance of the car. He's coming under attack, isn't he? He's got one of the Audis hustling along behind. So Dennis Marshall into Clark Curve. Sprints his way up towards the timing line now, but look, traffic all around him. And all of those other cars looking to try and improve their own lap times. 11.5 minutes to go. And as you get to the halfway point, a number of them now peeling for the pit lane. Now the Druids comes the BMW. So Marshall down now into Graham Hill Bend. Quick came in behind. That's Marc Bossaigne. Now, he's only 6th fastest. Remember Marc Bossaigne, former FIA GT1 world champion, going back to 2012. He's won the Bathurst 12 hours. He's won the Nürburgring 24 hours. Hugely experienced driver. Came out of the German Clio Championship. He was the champion of that. And there's now debris on track, we understand, between turns 3 and 4. That's Cooper Straight, in other words. So Bossaigne in traffic in the very attractive bullet-shaped Cayman. But not an S, it's the proper GT4 club sport, this. So he's got the Audi ahead, the R8. Bossaigne comes up through Westfield. And this lap is compromised. He just can't get through the traffic. That's the problem. Brands, he's not the widest of circuits, and there's not much you can do about the width, as there Basseng tries to weave his way in and out of the traffic, indicator on, very gentlemanly. So he's got past the BM, he's got past the Audi, and he comes now into Clark Curve, and he's going to head for the pits, is he? Yes. So after all that, in he comes. Car 18 has had a wide moment as well, which is Jelle Bielen in his Camaro. There's Pavel Lefterov, who is 8th fastest now because Gabriele Piano's gone quicker. Lefterov runs wide and kicks up all the dirt onto the road. That makes it slippery for the pack behind him. Through Clark Curve and up towards the line he comes now. So the M4 being developed all the time for GT4 purposes. We've had another lap time deleted. It goes for Jamie van den Balk in his BMW, number 38. And the pit lane remarkably calm for the moment. The circuit far from it because there's just cars everywhere. It shows the strength of GT4 racing. When it began, and we're going back over a decade, it was always full of potential, but never really clicked. But finally it has. One of the brands, Mercedes, and let's have a listen to the Mercedes AMG as it comes down. It's being pestered by KTM, we can't have that. Totally different engine notes. The big boom of the Mercedes and the 2-litre turbo of the KTM. Number 30 then, Nico van Dierendonck, another experienced driver from Carrera Cup, Dutch Supercar, and plenty of Creventic races, as well as the Blancpain GT Sports Club we've seen him in the past, but that Mercedes, not the quickest at the moment. Johan van Aeren getting the other stint in the car, come races. But how GT4 has moved on from the hesitant early days of private teams or tuners trying to develop the cars, now these are very much manufacturer-built and blessed projects. And as more and more manufacturers realise the benefits of customer racing programs, they have embraced GT4. It's strong in the Blancpain GT Series Asia and in that region. It's strong like never before in Europe and in British GT as well. There's constant talk of having to split the cars out for standalone races. So over the timing line goes 47 Mercedes. This is the car of Florian Janitz, having taken it over from Jakob Schober. Florian Janitz, former car, so he's not raced since 2015 until this season. Good to have him back behind the wheel of something. Number 2 is now Ivan Pareras, Barcelona 24-hour winner last year, comes up over the line. Runner-up in the Spanish Endurance Championship last season. 7.5 minutes on the clock, so Pareras relatively inexperienced, but making up for it by doing lots of long races through heat turns. Very, very deep into Druid, so that's going to compromise the lap, undoubtedly, and he now sprints down the hill. 7 more minutes on the clock. I think qualifying's live, but just wait for the races. There's so much that will happen, especially given A, the number of cars, and B, differing pace of differing drivers. Ricardo van der Ende into the mix yet. Yes, 13 fastest he is. Former Ford Festival winner. There is 87 McLaren from Team GT. Now Nico Rindlisbacher taking over from Paul Rees. Rindlisbacher, Carrera Cup and Italian F4 before coming into GT4. So another driver with a varied CV of single-seaters and GT cars. Somebody in real strife there is 43, and Hendrik Still, that is, who is normally very, very quick. So he's into the pit lane, having had a moment coming, 9th quickest he is incidentally, coming out of clearways into the pits. Hendrik Still, VLN expert, Super Trofeo expert, GT4 race winner in the past, but has a drama and comes for the pit lane, and there's a yellow out somewhere. Where is that? It's gone to green, so whoever was off the road, it might have been for Hendrik Still actually, just shown. So the Porsche into the pits. Still plenty out there. No, the yellow flag is back and it's in the first sector. And somebody has run wide at paddock. Yes, it's one of the BMWs I can just see getting out of the gravel. So the circuit's still live. And a lap time deleted for this car. Jean-Louis Jasper has lost a lap time for track limits coming out of Druids on the run down through towards Graham Hill Bend. Somebody zaps past him on the inside there as Jasper goes out of Westfield, right out of the back part of the circuit under the trees, which is always conducive to the signal from the onboard camera. One of the nice things about Brands Hatch is the topography of the place and the nice English country garden feel. Not, however, if you're trying to run onwards. So Jasper, look at the traffic ahead of him, 3 wide on a narrow straight down towards Clearways. Bail. You're not going to improve on this lap. So through goes number 16. Now that's looking a bit more towy. Hamza Ovega in the Audi up towards the timing line. Another VLN regular. And there's an incident being investigated between number 5 of Nikolai Moller-Madsen and 14. We don't have a 14, so that'll take quite a lot of investigation. Stewards will have to come back to that. It's certainly something that has happened which has involved Nikolai Moller-Madsen and others. Which other we don't yet know, but that's going to be looked at. 110 through. Dennis Marshall still, who is 15th fastest. Replay here of a big lose and ripping bodywork off the back. Number 9, the V8 racing car of Duncan Houseman. Now Duncan Houseman, 5 times a Macau Gear race winner, should know better than that. You see, you give drivers a little bit of runoff and they take all of it. So Duncan Houseman, who's actually quite a long way down, he's only 19th on the grid, now with a new lightweight Camaro. Number 13, Mark Maseng through, only 10th, surprising that. The session's got 3 more minutes to go. Mark was saying for the moment at least he's got a bit of clear track space around him, hoping now to push. See what he can do up towards the end of this lap as he comes now through the left-handed Surtees. Power on. And now he sprints down towards the right-hander at Hawthorne at the bottom of the hill. So looking competitive here, that's for sure. Mark Maseng's racecraft, I would have thought, would get him into the mix, but I think he'd be a bit disappointed that the absolute pace of the car is not better. So Maseng out of Westfield. You would have thought, given that there's nobody around him, that this would be the gun lap, but it's just not happening for him, is it? So Mark Maseng comes now out of Stirling's onto the straight down towards Clark Curve. And bails from the lap, and that'll be it, I would have thought, with only 2 minutes to go. Even if he does go back out, he won't get the chance really of a start-up lap and a proper flying lap. So that's pretty much the job done for today for Mark Maseng. And I would have thought he'll be a bit frustrated with the relative lack of pace of the car. So Will Tregurtha topping the times. There's a BMW stranded in the middle of Graham Hill Bend at the moment, which is forcing other cars onto the grass. It's got going now, but it's brought out another yellow flag. There it is, in fact, 38 of Jamie van den Balk. An improvement had just come from number 31, which is Bas Schouten, up to 4th fastest. Bas Schouten, former Ford racer. And also, finally, Nikolai Moller-Madsen is delivering, the Danish driver. He's gone up to 8th fastest now. Debris on track between turns 3 and 4 again. That's on Cooper Straight. There's a slippery surface flag out at Clark Curve. And still they battle on. Van der Balk, after his spin, comes through Westfield. And there's a minute to go before the end of the session. Checkered flag is not that far away, therefore. Quite a few have already decided that time is up. They'll head for the pit lane. There's another of the KTMs. Sorry, not the KTM at all. I took the line. The Keep Sure McLaren. According to the Thelma KTM for a moment, but that's Ricardo van der Ende, and he is 12th fastest. Van der Ende, the car that he shares with Finlay Hutchison. There's the slippery surface flag. He's going to get one more lap out of this. Is Ricardo van der Ende. for so many years associated with BMWs in GT4, but as he goes across the timing line, the improvement does not come. McLaren a bit down on pace here. Ricardo van der Ende throwing everything at it, runs it up over the curbs, coming through Paddock Hill Band up now towards Druid. Bit of debris on the road there as well, you'll notice. Flag is out, so I'm not convinced there are going to be many improvements because the bulk of the top 20 are in the pit lane, in fact. There through is number 10, which is Ricardo van der Ende. So as the road gets quieter, again a bit like Mark was saying, you'd anticipate this would be the ideal time to do the lap time, but it's not really happening for him at the moment. So the last few cars take the flag, and I think van der Ende has realised it's not going to happen for him, so he backs out of it. So session done, and although one or two are still circulating, improvements in this early evening sunshine, few and far between now. They're having to cope with the setting sun and everything else. People going off the road and incidents and you name it, but in the end it is a double pole for HHC. Stuart Middleton and Will Tregurtha take a pole position each. Charlie Kemp and Jody Hemmings that run this team will be absolutely delighted. It's a rare occasion of Yorkshire embracing Europe, a Yorkshire team coming into the European GT4 series, but they've done a great job. And the Ginetta topping the times. There's 22, the KTM of the True Racing team of Laura Kreihammer, and she is to be found a long way down actually. 28th is Laura. So there is the car of the session, absolutely. 55 Ginetta of now Will Tregurtha taking the top time, number 50 nestling alongside Will Burns. So it's great to see Will going so well. It was a really nasty accident that he had at Silverstone. It was the one that involved, if you follow the BTCC, Rob Collard, because yet again it was poor old Rob having a Silverstone accident. That got all the focus, but Will Burns was also quite badly knocked about by it, and it's good to see him back and going so well. Very quick driver, came out of a true club racing series. He started off in the Castle Combe Saloon Car Championship, which is a real miscellany, low-cost series, but going very well on this level. So Will Tregurtha is the fastest by nearly 6/10 from his teammate Will Burns, and then it is Pierre-Alexandre Jean third. Baschouten fourth from Gabriele Piana, the McLaren of Joe Osborne ahead of the BMW of Max Kubalt, and then 8th is Nikolai Moller-Madsen's Audi. 9th, Christopher Zirkling from Hendrik Stills Porsche. Matt Nicol-Jones is 11th, the team patron ahead of Ricardo van der Ende with his McLaren 12th. Then 13th, Mark Vasseng from Pavel Lefterov and Florian Janit. Dennis Marchard is 16th, ahead of Cedric Freiberghaus, Ivan Pereiras and Jamie Van Den Belt 19th, 20th Duncan Houseman, Dominic Schrammel is 21st from Andy Merritt, the Brit, Schaber Moore 23rd, and Nico Rindlisbacher is 24th fastest. And we're not done yet. Jelle Bielen 15th, in 16th, David Loget from Nicky Leutwiler going solo, Laura Kreihammer 28th, then it is Yannick Gedek from Stéphane Lemeray, very experienced driver, Jean-Louis Jasper, Jan Jonk, Hamza Ovega, Alessandro Giovanelli and Maciej Stretzer all ahead of the number 7 Street Art Aston Martin of Julien Darras. 37th Palamaloni from Koen Bogarts, then it is the Joachim Bulting car ahead of Sylvain Debs. Felix van der Laden 41st ahead of Nico van Derenonk, Stefan Cox, Sven van Lara, Louis-Philippe Cernan and then Maurizio Fondi to round out the times. Let's hear then from our pole position driver.
Stuart, absolutely fantastic job. What a qualifying that was.
Yeah, perfect really. I think we got the cars P1 and 2 for the first race and the second race also. So yeah, I'm really happy with that, and we just managed to nail it. So yeah, massive credit to HHC Motorsport and everybody. They had the cars just perfectly set up. So yeah, I really enjoyed that one.
Let's see how you go in the race. Thanks.
So excellent job done by HHC, by Stuart Middleton, and of course by Will Tregurtha, who is the man that took the other pole position. And let's have a quick look at the best bits of qualifying for the GT4 European Series. In glorious sunshine in Q2, and the car had already laid down a marker, number 55 Ginetta, by being fastest in the opening session. Different driver, Will Tregurtha taking over, but early dramas, a big spin for number 11. That was the Las Moras Racing by Keith Verschoor car of Sven van Lara. Number 5 Audi with Nikolai Moller-Madsen. Had early dramas, but Moller-Madsen got him up the order as 1-1-2. Pavel Lefterov's BMW had a wild old ride coming out of Sterling's. He was able to recover though, and Lefterov in the end, not ending up as high up the order as we might have anticipated, I'm afraid to say, so he's got some work to do come the race. He will start from 14. Duncan Houseman had this big lose going through paddock, brought what was left of the Camaro back on track, and with sparks flying over the curve, GT4 European Series qualifying done. Racing tomorrow is going to be stunning. Join us for that. For now, from Brands, from David Addison. Good night.